Hey folks, welcome back. Thank you so much for taking the time to come visit with us today and have a chance to watch the SpaceX launch. It's entitled HTS-113BT, also known as the Telkomsat Meriah Putin 2. And what that is, an Indonesian satellite orbital platform that is a throughput telecommunication satellite, state-owned by Indonesia. So an international customer for SpaceX today. This is a 4 metric ton satellite at launch. Expected lifespan on it's 15 years. And this launch is going to be on booster 1067, which will be its 17th launch. So it's definitely a member of the old man club kind of when it comes to the booster collection over at SpaceX. Launch is coming off a Slick 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. We had planned on trying to get out there today, but plans got changed. So we're going to be scheduling some other live feeds from Kennedy, but today we'll be bringing the feed when it comes through from SpaceX. And I'm going to take a quick second, as I always do, to say thank you to SpaceX for providing those feeds so we all have an opportunity to watch and learn and just marvel at what they do every launch. It's sort of become old hat for them, and I know for a lot of people, just another launch, another landing, but they're never just another launch, another landing. This landing today, I'm sorry, is going to be on Just Read the Instruction. That's going to be off the coast of Florida, of course. And if this launch does not go off, it's scheduled for 3/11, which is about 12 from now. If that does not go off on time, there is another launch opportunity scheduled for tomorrow, the 21st, at about the same time. And it's an extensive backup window, I believe. But we're hoping for clear skies today. Right now, the launch report that I pulled off the Space Command showed zero chance of any activity, short of any winds at upper levels. And short of that, it's hopefully going to be a good day and a good launch right here in rain. So this launch has picked a good day. Finally has cleared out for us. So at this point, again, we are going to be looking at SpaceX's HTS-113B, Telkomsat. Just about now, and wait for that feed to start. Anything changes, I'll be back to let you know. Appreciate everybody here. By the way, don't let me forget. Thank you to all the subscribers. Got a bunch of new subscribers that came through to help me to grow this channel, and I appreciate it greatly. If you could subscribe, like the video, share as much as you can, that would be awesome. If you are not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to our page and joining the club. Page is growing, allows me to get out more and share these things with everyone from my vantage point here in Florida, and also doing the live streams from the studio. And thoroughly enjoy it, thoroughly enjoy meeting you folks. And like I say, if you're not a subscriber, we'd love to have you come in and join us on our journey here. And if you have a chance also, we do have a web store up. You can catch that link on the YouTube page or on the web page, daviddeliverspace.com. And that'll help us grow this thing even further. So we're going to stand by and wait for the feed to begin.
Engines are named after the merlin, which is a species of falcon. And the photo you're seeing now are these 9 Merlin engines that are just like the engines responsible for getting today's payload to orbit. Not only is the first stage the largest part of the rocket, but it's also the portion of the rocket that we attempt to land on one of our autonomous drone ships or back on land for future reuse. Today we're planning to land on the drone ship. Just read the instructions. To date, we've landed Falcon 9 fly the most expensive parts of the rocket, which in turn drives down the cost of access to space. A single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine that ignites after the first stage separates. And that second stage is what will carry Meriah for launch. The payload is safely enclosed inside of the 17 of the second stage. The fairing protects satellites on their way nearly 3 minutes into flight, and the fairing is made of a carbon composite material. The fairing halves supporting today's mission are both flight-proven, with one half flying for its 10th time and the other half flying for its 11th time. And after separation from the second stage, both fairing halves will return to Earth and will be recovered by our recovery team. At Team Falcon 9 is tracking no issues and the payload is healthy. Falcon 9 has been loading propellants T-2 minutes. The range is ready to support and weather is green for our mission today. And if for some reason we don't launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow at 12:53 p.m. Eastern Time. For now, let's learn a little bit more about today's mission and the payload that's on board Falcon 9. That was an awesome video from our customer, Telkomsat. Next up, the transporter erector, or TE, will retract away from Falcon. That's the large truss structure you see there standing next to the rocket. First, we'll see the clamp arms open up around the second stage, and then the TE will begin to pull away from the rocket slowly. At T0, ground hydraulic systems will pull the TE even further away from Falcon 9 as it lifts off. The first stage is connected to a launch mount at the base of the TE, but the structure is hinged and will retract from the vehicle in preparation for launch. You may also hear it referred to as a strong back from the launch team when you're listening to the nets. We use the TE to roll the rocket out to the pad and raise it to its vertical launch position.
Strong back lower has started.
We should have a view of the clamp arms opening up in a couple seconds from now. There you can see them opening up. The TE also routes the vehicle's fluids, power, and telemetry umbilicals from the ground systems to the rocket and payload until Falcon 9 goes on internal power and clears the pad. Also in the next few seconds, we should see the strong back begin to recline away from Falcon 9. At this point in the countdown, both the first and second stages are nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of RP-1 kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Both first stage and second stage should finish propellant loading about a minute apart from each other. The first stage finishes up at around T-minus 3 minutes and a few seconds, and the second stage at T-minus 2 minutes.
All right, everybody, we're at T-minus about 3 minutes. And everything looks good. At this point, we're coming up on the topping off of the prop loading, and also at 1 minute, we will be on internal power and internal guidance. Computers inside Falcon 9 will take over the launch, short of something happening that requires the controllers and the Mission Control Center to shut it down. The spacecraft will be in control from that point forward. The venting you see coming off right now is just liquid oxygen that once it hits the warm Florida air remains back into a gaseous form. They'll be clearing the lines very shortly just before launch. Make sure the liquid oxygen, all props are out of the lines prior to the engine ignitions. Everything is looking green. And we'll switch on back to the final countdown, under 2 minutes. Enjoy.
Good call out for second stage LOX load completion, and the white cloud that's venting is venting from the TE LOX line, and that is totally normal. In about 30 seconds, we
ground gas closeouts.
Be sure that F9 is in startup.
Falcon 9 is in startup. Go for launch.
We just heard from the launch director that all systems are go for launch of Falcon 9 with the Meriah payload. Now let's sit back and watch.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition, and lift off. Go Falcon, go Telkomsat.
And we have good liftoff.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
Just awesome shots, awesome video coming from SpaceX. And we appreciate every bit of that opportunity to share that with you.
At T plus 30 seconds and counting, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying the Meriah payload. During ascent, we tilt the engines, also known as gimbaling, and that turns the rocket horizontally in what we call a gravity turn. In a gravity Moments ago, we throttled the engines down in preparation for max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure.
And that is the maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle at any given time during the flight.
Just heard, we had max Q, and the rocket typically needs to go 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and get into orbit. So keep an eye on the Stage 1 telemetry that's at the bottom of your screen.
Beautiful shot of Cape Canaveral Space Force Station as the Falcon 9 pulls away. Just over 27 miles.
And we have 3 events coming up in quick succession, starting with MECO, or main engine cutoff, stage separation, SES-1, or second engine start 1. And that's coming up in around 30 seconds from now.
And once we get through that, you'll see the grid fins deploy.
Vehicles on the nominal trajectory.
Beautiful shot. The engines are just coming up on MECO. We'll get main engine cutoff, stage separation. Then they'll lose those 2 $3 million fairings that'll be recovered.
Main engine cutoff.
And Falcon
Stage
9's
separation
first stage
confirmed.
will begin its return back to.
And there you heard and even saw those 3 events that happened back to back, which were MECO, stage separation, and second engine start 1. Coming up next will be fairing separation. That's in about a minute from now.
Impact gear pressures are nominal.
Had a good ignite and good engine. Grid fins have deployed.
We have some really beautiful views from space. You can see the grid fins have deployed on the left-hand side of your screen on the first stage.
Looks like nominal telemetry across the board. Getting ready for fairing.
Separation confirmed.
Separation, there it goes.
We just saw fairing separation, and we'll be attempting to retrieve these fairing halves again today once they fall back to Earth with our recovery vessel, Bob.
Go get him, Bob.
Both vehicles are on a nominal trajectory.
It's now T+4 minutes and 20 seconds into today's mission. Just past the T+6 minute mark, you should see on your screen the first stage entry burn. To start the entry burn, we'll relight 3 M1D engines, starting with the center engine, known as E9, followed shortly by the E1 and E5 engines. And it's similar to pumping the brakes to slow down the vehicle as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. We need to slow down to reduce re-entry forces, which then helps us recover and reuse the first stage. During the entry burn, Falcon 9 is decelerating by firing its Merlin engines, but we're still moving really fast, and this causes the vehicle to fly through Merlin's exhaust gases, which are also known as the plume, and this deposits a layer of soot on the vehicle surface. And that soot comes from the carbon-based fuel, the RP1, that Falcon 9 burns, and with each flight, the soot builds up a little bit more on the outside of the vehicle. Oftentimes, prior to launch, you can see that soot on the first stage as it's sitting on the pad. We have a really awesome view of stage 2, and you can see on your screen it's still picking up speed, and as it heads to its destined orbit.
Both both stages.
The first stage is coming up in a couple seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Stage 1 FTS is safed.
That there's no chance of the vehicle during re-entry. They'll also safe the flight termination system up shortly.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
On the left-hand side of your screen, we have stage 1. You could see that it really decelerated as its speed slowed down. Scientific research. The Falcon 9 first stage that's supporting today's mission will perform this entry burn for it.
You can see that speed burning off very rapidly. Altitude burning off. Won't be too long.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
Stage 1 transonic.
The Merlins on the
Now we
first
have
stage are
transonic.
optimized for sea level and achieve 190,000 pounds of thrust each during ascent and entry. After liftoff,
Stage 2
Falcon 9's
FTS is safe.
first stage has more thrust than 5 747 airplanes at full power. The MVAC engine with a much wider nozzle is optimized to 220,500 pounds of thrust in vacuum.
Stage 1 landing burn startup. And the next shutdown.
All right, we have the landing burn, and those grid fins are working overtime to assist that first stage to make its final landing.
Nominal park orbit
I'll
insertion.
just read the instructions. Here it comes.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
And another awesome landing.
And there
Stage
you
1
have
landing
it.
confirmed.
That landing marks SpaceX's 275th recovery of an orbital class rocket, including first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. We still have one more burn of our second stage engine before we're ready to deploy Meriah today. In a moment, we'll be going into coast, and we'll see you back here at the T+27 minute mark for the relight of our MVAC engine. But before we do, let's take a deeper dive on how Thales Alenia Space is growing the network.
Telkom is the biggest digital telecommunication company in Indonesia, which has complete digital business portfolios that are categorized into 3 digital business domains. Telkomsat is a Telkom Indonesia subsidiary which leads Telkom's satellite business line. We can now proudly present as the sun rises, signaling a new beginning to extend our reach to forge stronger connections. It's time to join us on a journey to discover new horizons with limitless connectivity. Just like the archipelago of Indonesia, where diversity spans across more than 17,000 islands. Serving as a strength. We've soared extensively, weaving stories and news into the fabric of every corner. From bustling cities to rural villages. As the largest satellite service provider in Indonesia, we consistently work towards offering communication services with internationally recognized satellite infrastructure, playing a key role in expediting the communication transformation in this digital era. With the best talents on board, we wholeheartedly ensure our communication technology services flow seamlessly. Providing end-to-end solutions. With decades of experience, we keep innovating to deliver the best services. Ensuring smooth and comfortable communication for all. We journey with speed, connecting far and wide indeed. In the satellite industry, our goal is to lead, extending beyond Indonesia's stead across Asia where our influence will spread. Together with Telkomsat, let's discover new horizons where there are no limits.
All right, folks. Well, that was a really nice bit of information about Telkomsat and what they're doing. And this is one of their members of their fleet that is going to be released here in about 20 minutes. If you want to catch more on that, we'll try to do a separate feed on that. But we're going to end the stream for now. Okay. Everything looks good. Just check and make sure there's nothing on that telemetry, but everything looks good right now. All right. Well, at this point, we will end the stream. I want to thank all of you for stopping by today and watching the launch with us, as usual. Appreciate the subscribers, and lately it's been really heading the right direction. Really excited about all of that, and appreciate that. And if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to the page, like the videos, and share them so we can grow a presence out there with this channel. We're hoping to do more and more of the live events, especially going into the spring now and the summer. SpaceX is planning a big year. They're looking at somewhere in the 150 plus range, not including the Starlink launches, and we should be having Starship launches. And that doesn't include Starship, and we should be having a Starship launch hopefully in the next few weeks from what we're hearing. There's a lot of wet dress rehearsals that have been started and then stopped, and licensing is still waiting from the FCC as far as FAA, as far as I'm concerned. But we'll see where that all goes. But again, thank you for stopping by. Thank you to SpaceX, and thank you to Telkomsat for providing that footage out here for all of us to share with you and educate the public. If you have a second, stop by the channel, stop by the webpage, daviddeliverspace.com. We've got a store opened up there to help support the push of trying to grow the page. Got some cool stuff out there if you are so inclined. So if you feel up to it, then stop on by. We'd love to have you take a look at it for us. With that, we'll say good afternoon from Central Florida, and we will be looking at a little time with us out here at David Delivers Space. Have a good afternoon.